Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CSL Leesburg. So, our theme for the year of 2026 is open at the top, and it's a new month. So, we have a new theme. It is August, and the theme for August is the fear and the furious. The title of today's talk is Anger as a Force of Change, and that will be given by our wonderful Reverend Charlene. We are so glad that you took some time out of your day to join us. If you have any prayer concerns or celebrations that you would like us to include when we get to the prayer portion of our service, good morning, everyone, and welcome to CS. Please let us know, and we will be sure to include that when Reverend Charlene gets to the prayer portion, which we call spiritual mind treatment. Why? Because it all starts right here with your mind. And this is a form of affirmative prayer, keeping it positive, resting in our faith in the divine. All right, folks, that's all I have to say to officially kick things off. Sit back, relax, you made it, and enjoy our welcoming video. There we go.
All right, so you're saying y'all can't hear that. Is that correct? Oh, well, I will start it again and let's get that corrected. Excuse me, but welcome those of you who are just joining. One moment, please. Share the sound. All right, now I'm going to try it again. Let me know. Jules, I'm looking for thumbs up or down, okay?
Please join us as we create our sacred space. We set our intentions of deepening into our awareness and practice of our 5 pillars of spiritual living by lighting this candle in our virtual world. Our first pillar is sacred study, represented by the divine quality of truth. We use this pillar to recognize the importance of an open mind.
You cannot hear it.
And the
Jules
power
is nodding.
of
Jules
our
is nodding.
minds. The second pillar is affirmative prayer, represented by the divine quality power. This pillar honors the power of prayer in our daily lives. Our third pillar is meditation and the divine quality of peace. This pillar reminds us of the importance of meditation and the peace we feel when we quiet our minds. The fourth pillar is circulation and the divine quality of life. We know that the great law of circulation works in our lives. As we give, so shall we receive. And the fifth pillar is sacred service and the divine quality of love. This pillar affirms our call to be a service to our world as we see through the eyes of love. Let us close our eyes as we bless this sacred space and our time together. As we weave each of these pillars of spiritual living into our service today, may they deepen our own spiritual practices of study, prayer, meditation, circulation, and service, expanding our minds and our hearts to the 5 divine qualities of truth, power, peace, life, and love. We also bless everyone who made our service possible today and everyone in attendance. May the energy of love that is generated here bless everyone abundantly. And so it is.
And so it is. And now Tamara will lead us through a meditation as supported by Dan's beautiful music. Are you ready, my dear?
All right. So I always try to tie in the meditation and with our title of our talk, and the fear and the furious is our theme, and anger is the force of change. So how can you do a meditation that has a focus on anger? But I picked out one today that reminds you of the power that you have. So, with that, Charlene, you can figure out how you're going to weave that we have the power into the message today. Here we go. This meditation reminds you of the power that you have. All right. And I'm getting a message from Charlene. It's already done. It always is. All right. As we begin our meditation, sit back, take a deep breath, just as we always do with the start of meditations, and hold and release. All right, let's dive in. So just listen to my words as I guide you through this meditation. It might sound familiar to you. I am the goodness in my life. I am present in everything I see, everything I hear, everything I touch, everything I taste, everything I smell. Nothing is visible without me. I create and I bring the things that I see into my life. Look around you. Whatever room you are in, wherever you are, nothing is visible without you. Nothing is visible without you. Nothing is heard without you. You have to be there to hear it. And you create and bring these things that you hear into your life. Listen to the sounds. What do you hear right now? Do you hear the rain falling outside? Do you hear the birds chirping like I do, enjoying this lovely morning? Do you hear the sound of a fan or an air conditioner? Do you hear a furry companion? Nothing is heard without you, without your presence. You invite the sounds into your life. Nothing is tangible without you. You create and bring the things that you touch into your life. There is nothing tangible without you. There is nothing that you can taste without you. How could you taste something without you putting in your mouth, using that sense of taste? You create and bring the things that you taste into your life. Think of some recent tastes that you've had. Think of your favorite tastes. There's nothing that has taste without you experiencing it. Now, think of smells. Let's think of pleasant ones, okay? Don't think of that skunk or that really, really bad perfume or cologne. Think of smells that just make you feel, oh, wonderful. That wonderful fragrance that you associate with someone, or your favorite fragrance or cologne. The smell of cookies in the oven, or bread, oh, fresh bread, or grass, or even trees and the leaves when they fall in the autumn time. Oh, I love that smell. And that makes me think of pumpkin spice too. So just think of the favorite fragrances that you have. And nothing has fragrance without you. So this is a meditation to remind you of the power that you have. You decide what comes into your life, just like you would decide who enters your home, who comes to your front door. Sometimes people show up at your front door, but you don't let them in. That salesperson, that unexpected visitor, or maybe you just have a conversation on the front porch, the front stoop. But there are some people that you invite into your home, and you have the choice always. What sights, what sounds, what smells, what tastes, what things do you invite into your life? You are a co-creator, and you decide what comes into your life. So with that, I'll wrap up our meditation today, and we're going to turn it over to some music by Leah. Enjoy, and thank you for meditating with me.
What do I choose to give oxygen to today? What wolves will I feed and which will I keep at bay? When the world overwhelms me, in the quiet of my heart I say, what do I choose to give oxygen to today? What do I choose to give oxygen to today? What wolves will I feed and which will I keep at bay? When the world overwhelms me, in the quiet of my heart I say, what do I choose to give oxygen to today? What do I choose to give oxygen to today? What wolves will I feed and which will I keep at bay? When the world overwhelms me, in the quiet of my heart I say, what do I choose to give oxygen to today? When the world overwhelms me, in the quiet of my heart I say, what do I choose to give oxygen to today?
Wow, thank you, Leah, and thank you, Tamara, for that that's a new word, remindful. Let's remind ourselves to be mindful of the fact that we are present right here, right now, giving our energy to this moment, and we're choosing to do it. We're choosing what to pay attention to. We're choosing what to give our oxygen to today. And so Tamara just pointed out in her journal, in Zoom she showed me, she actually has that quote. What do I choose? Okay, I'm going to add you. Hold on. There it is. What do I choose to give oxygen to today? You know, I love it. I love that life just keeps on lifing. All right, welcome. So this month, isn't it wild, the play on words, the fearful and the furious? Now, what does that mean? It means these are the two emotions that as spiritual people, we'd like to act like we're not allowed to experience. Fear and anger. Today I'll talk about anger. Fear is coming up, and we do swap back and forth, fear and anger for this month. And I love the topic because, and I know Melinda loves it because she held an entire workshop about the spiritual rage room. So it's a needed thing to talk about. And I will begin with this one sentence affirmation, which later I will ask for you to say with me. It is, I channel my anger into sacred, purposeful action. This is your power. You can do that with your attention. You're channeling your anger into sacred, purposeful action. So I will start with a reading from our fave, Brene Brown, who she teaches all of us to allow those feelings that we've been shoving down and pushing away. And this one is all about fear and anger. She says, when we are in pain and fear, anger and hate are our go-to emotions. Anger is a catalyst. It's easier to be pissed off than it is to be hurt or scared. With anger as our catalyst, well, we're holding on to it, will make us exhausted and sick. Or sometimes anger can mask a more difficult emotion like grief, regret, or shame. And we need to use it to dig into what we're really feeling. Courage is forged in pain, but not in all pain. Not in all pain, she says. Pain that is denied or ignored becomes fear or hate. I'll say that again. Pain that is denied or ignored becomes fear or hate. Anger that is never transformed becomes resentment and bitterness. So that's where we are today. This is what we're talking about. And in those words from Brene Brown, who, by the way, wrote this in her book called Braving the Wilderness, The Quest for True Belonging and the Courage to Stand Alone. That's her book. And she writes a lot about the things that society would have us suppress in order to appear okay. And that is what we call spiritual bypass. When you take platitudes and high-mindedness and try to pretend that the other feelings aren't there, that is spiritual bypass, and we don't want to do that. So let's start with the top, with Brene's idea of using the energy. You see, we've been sold a lie that spiritual people, we don't get angry. We're taught to just let it go or choose good vibes. But that's our spiritual bypass talking. What if your anger is not something to turn away from, something to, if you're looking at it, you want to fix it and make it go away? No. What if the anger that you're trying to avoid is the actual signal that shows you the way to go, shows you where your growth is? That's Brene Brown. She's saying that anger is a catalyst. It's your soul saying, this is unacceptable. You don't have to choose between honoring your anger or choosing love, because that's the spiritual bypass. What if your love isn't the absence of anger, but it's the highest transformation of anger? In other words, it's the direction you should go in to find, how can I transmute this energy of anger into love? So what you're doing when you're using anger to point the way is, first of all, you're noticing, what am I interested in? What do I care about? Because if we didn't care, we would be indifferent. So the opposite of love is not anger. No. The opposite of love is indifference. So if something gets you all riled up, pay attention. It is asking you to move toward it, and then you're going to reframe it. So I'm calling this the inner alarm system. You know how you have an alarm system in your home? Or maybe let's do a different kind of alarm. One where it just involves you. not a burglar coming in or some external thing. Your alarm wants to wake you up. That's what they do. That's what alarms do, right? They ring. And the more obnoxious the ring, the more successful the waking up. Have you noticed that? So if we go out of shame of having these anger alarm bells going off, we're not ashamed of them because maybe our spiritual friends will call us unspiritual because we have the nerve to be angry. No. What if we instead reframe this and say, oh, no. I'm expecting this. This fear, this anger, we're using anger today, it is not a flaw in my spiritual practice. It's my soul's alarm bell. When the alarm rings, it's telling me one of three things is happening. 1, a boundary has been crossed. 2, a deeply held value is being ignored. Or 3, an injustice has just occurred. Either way, we're awake now and we're alert. Do not unplug the alarm clock. That's that spiritual bypass. No. Listen to it carefully, because when you finally allow your anger, your alarm bells to actually get your attention, then it stops being so overwhelming and so jarring. And it becomes motivation for getting up and getting going on what it is you're here to do. And I love this. It's just like the morning alarm clock. At first, it's such an annoyance. And then once you're awake, you're like, that sound isn't so bad. Of course, it got me going. So we're not going to talk about the snooze button. I know you're like, yeah, but what if I just go ahead and click snooze? If you click snooze on your anger, well, that's for another talk. We'll discuss. So now let's go into the current events, because I know that it has not passed your awareness. As a person who's alive and living and looking around in the world, you would be weird if you weren't a little angry. I would say I'll have what she's having. So you look around and you say, oh no, but what about the injustices that are going on? Well, turns out this scientific study done in October 2023 and 2024, there's a term called rage philanthropy. Have you heard of it? Rage philanthropy. So there's a scientific benefit to being mad. This study by the APA found that the anger that we feel is actually one of the most powerful motivating forces for achieving difficult goals. Anger. We're seeing it right now with the rage philanthropy following the 2024 election, where people are channeling their political frustration into millions of dollars for nonprofits, those nonprofits that have been so cruelly sliced with a chainsaw by some of our friends on a stage acting crazy. I'm not going to even comment about it. But when homeboys slash those budgets like this, some of the philanthropists were mad and very wealthy, and they started making it rain. So look this up. You'll find that anger is not always purely destructive. When we channel it right, the ultimate catalyst for change has just awakened, and watch out. So that, I love that, because it's just like, yay, where can we point this thing? Where can I point it? How can I help? So the anger is doing a good job. Now, what is the technology behind that? And allow me to go a little deeper, because as I think about a person, I'm a person moving in the world, and I'm often at the end of someone else's disagreement with whatever I'm showing up as. A lot of times I just showed up in this body and people have an issue with it, depending on the venue to which I've shown up. So what do we really do? What does it really look like when it comes to taking anger and turning it into something else? I can't help but use another metaphor, but this time it feels a little more interesting because don't we all know that typically hot fire can destroy? That's a given. Hot fire, like I'm saying hot fire as if there's any other kind of fire, but I'm just thinking about a blacksmith's forge and how if the heat, because it's a special kind of hot heat, like white hot heat, there are different types of fires. When a blacksmith gets their forge so hot, it's like our anger getting super hot. And if we do not skillfully manage that heat and turn it towards something creative, it could, if left unchecked, become something destructive. So, anger, in fact, Ernest Holmes actually wrote in Science of Mind, anger can be turned into love, and the very power that has been destroying can be made to build up. So we are with the blacksmith in this moment, and that blacksmith has just put a very hard metal, which is, let's say, raw iron, brittle, and you can't really work with it, but the blacksmith puts it into the forge, into the heat. And what happens? It heats up that hard to manage metal or iron, and it makes it malleable. Your anger could be the heat that could be applied to a situation or something in your heart has been hardened. What if your anger is that heat that can be applied to it, and now you're making it pliable? If raw metal is brittle and unyielding and takes immense heat, then your anger, your raw anger, can be used and applied towards something that you're pretty sure you can't stand. You're pretty sure they're not going to make you love them because they're just so horrible, so awful. Point your the heat of your anger, informed by your deeply understood connection with the divine, and that will transform the situation. Your anger is forceful. It's got power behind it. It's energy. Energy can't be destroyed. It can only be transformed, and you're going to be that transforming agent. Blacksmiths, they are skilled. There's a whole apprentice system to make sure that just any old fool doesn't walk up to a forge and try to just do it, because how hard could it be? These were the last words said by many an apprentice who didn't have good training. We need to train ourselves. We need to sit and make sure that we have a high intention for what it is we're here to do. And that informs our higher sense of self, which is higher than anything, even the anger. And then when the anger does show up, we use that anger to even go further. There's a Tai Chi metaphor in here somewhere. I remember I was in a class. This is years ago. I was pre-child at the time, so at least 30 years ago. And I was in a class where this little small man, Chinese man, one of the world champions in just beating people up. Like he could do things that seemed magical. And when he taught us, he's sitting there just like seriously petite. And he would get against these big guys and just kind of throw them. And it didn't look like he was working hard. And so we were there to learn that when someone's using their anger or their power against you, that you simply move with them. A lot of those hand movements that they do just has you going with their energy coming at you, and you deflect it so that they go tumbling away, and you're just so rooted in your core, rooted in your stance, that they didn't really knock you down. You were pliable and flexible, and you use their momentum to take them head over heels behind you. It's the most amazing teaching, not even for martial arts, but just for the spiritual arts, the arts for taking everything that's being thrown at you and taking even your own reaction of high pissosity, as Reverend Michael calls it, high being pissed off supremely, and taking that energy and transmuting it with your high intention and turning all that momentum like a skilled blacksmith using that fire and then making that hard, that brittle thing so malleable that you can just hammer out whatever it is you want out of that situation. And it's mastery. It is mastery, and it does not happen overnight. So the idea, though, is that your vision of yourself, your high vision of yourself is that, well, it comes alive in the sacred pause. Your high vision of yourself. These are the visions that you have when everything is fine. You're sitting on your meditation pillow and you're doing your 5-step spiritual mind treatment, or you're doing your affirmations, and part of you just knows who you came here to be. And it's the high resolve, those moments. It's just like New Year's Eve, where you just know for sure you are already embodying that vision of you comes alive in the sacred pause. So what's the sacred pause, you ask? Well, it is in the triggering moment. So let's say that in the day of a life, you're sitting on your meditation pillow. It's early in the morning. You've decided who you came here to be. You rise up off your pillow, you walk into the world, and someone or something happens that makes you so angry. And it is an anger that is familiar because, oh, here we go again, which is another way to add more fire to the already burning embers of being mad, being angry at something. And it would be valid anger. So if you're seeing someone, maybe they directly walked right in your face and said something, some slur, called you a name, or it's a third party. You just saw on the news that these people have done again that thing. And now we're back in the midst of anger. And you could tell because you tick your teeth and you, that. Now, in that moment, I want us to take a sacred pause. Because right now the fire's getting hot. And I want us to take the anger. This is visionary anger because it's going to clear the way for you to take a breath, take a space. You're being triggered. Take a breath. Your brain is now thinking, not even thinking, it's reacting, not responding. It's going to go to its nearest response, the nearest one. And what does that look like for you? What's your knee-jerk reaction to something that makes you highly mad? It's going to go to that. And it's your oldest, most reactive habit, the one you usually have to apologize for. I'll give you a minute. But Ernest Holmes gives us a powerful warning. He says we all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them, but we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through the old mental reactions. Who am I going to give oxygen to? What thoughts am I going to give footage, give anchorage in my soul? What am I going to do? That's that visionary pause. Just take, and it could be just taking a breath. It could be just reach to the glass of liquid that you have near you. Hopefully you've got something, you stay hydrated, and just do this. That space, that visionary space between stimulus and response, that's the space. If you don't give it a space, you'll have stimulus and reaction. No space. Stimulus, a little bit of space, a breath, And then response, well, that's you choosing who you're going to be in this moment. This is the sacred pause. And it's the last thing you'll think about when you're in the heat of the moment. But this week, for today, I'm planting this seed into your soul right now. And I want you to just hold on to that and look for the next time that your anger comes up and your reaction starts. And I want you to pause. And then respond. The response is going to be way different. And let me tell you, how do you know if you're doing this right? You will have fewer apologies to make throughout the rest of your life. Fewer things you have to apologize for. If you didn't do it in the first place, you didn't say it in the first place, and you didn't slam doors, I don't know what it looks like for you. But that pause takes away the urgency of I must react. Ernest Holmes says you'll never triumph over these things while you persist in going through the old mental reactions. So yes, it's a practice. And so, in conclusion, I just need you to know that you are individually part of one of the greatest social movements in history. How do I know that? Because we're here and it's not perfect. Things need a little bit of help. You look around, where does it need you? Think about it. Every social movement in history began with a moral outrage. But the outrage itself is not what changed the world, is it? The sustained, organized, and deeply loving action that followed the outrage, that's what did it. So don't be afraid of your anger. We'll talk about fear next week. Don't be afraid of your anger. Honor it. Feel the heat without closing your heart down. And let's go back to that affirmation. In fact, let me get it from my slide deck. I'll show it to you. This affirmation, say it with me now. I channel my anger into sacred, purposeful action. I'll say it again. I channel my anger into sacred, purposeful action. Let your anger show you what you'll no longer tolerate. And then let your vision show you what you dare to create. I channel my anger into sacred, purposeful action. All right, let me stop sharing that. And let's go into prayer. Let me check to see if there are any prayers. Yes. Oh, Daniel put in the chat, Connie Ballmer recently gave $60 million to PBS. Nicely done. I love that. Look around and see what other kind of rage philanthropy is happening. I'm here for it. I love it. Okay, let's go within and go into prayer in this moment where the divine is so palpable, so present, so in the midst of us. In the sacred texts, it is written that the divine is nearer to us than our hands and feet. It's closer to us than our very neck vein. That's pretty close. It's one with us. And in this divine oneness, I know that I am imbued with all of the strengths and the highest vision. The divine's vision for my life is my life right now. I let go of anything, any fear, any worry, and any doubt that might be in the way of me knowing with a deep knowingness who I am and who I came here to be and what I came here to create, and how that creativity is divinely mine to do. And I know that this is true for me. I know that this is true for each and every person here within the sound of my voice, that there is nothing but high powered energy and love moving through us, and that the anger points the way to where we can be more effective in our lives. And so, as we read the news, as we watch the news, as we scroll this week, I encourage each and every one of us to just go within and listen to the things that anger us and use it to propel us into that sacred vision, using the alchemy of transmutation of from anger into the highest energy, which is love. And it's always available to us at all times. I just rest knowing that this is the truth about me, and that I can't wait to watch how this community unfolds and gets more bold in their presence as they make this world a much more harmonious and loving and inclusive space for all. I am grateful. And I release my word into the law, knowing that it is already unfolding. I let it go. I let it be. And so it is. Ashe. We have another song from Leah.
We shall be known by the company we keep as the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known as the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves back to the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep as the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known as the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that all thrive. It is time we lead ourselves back to the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead as love.
All right. Whoops. Is that it?
Is it? You're good.
Okay, good. I had to make sure. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Reverend Charlene. Reverend Charlene, I took 5 pages of notes today. So this was I think the most notes I've ever taken. More on that later. Thank you so much. And we thank Leah also for the amazing music. All right, folks, now is the time that we practice what we preach. In our opening video, you heard us talk about the law of circulation. As you give, so shall you receive. And it's always, always, always working. I love the image that we have, that infinity symbol, I think it's called, that figure 8 on its side, where as you give, so shall you receive. As you give to CSL Leesburg, we are able to give in return. We're able to do what we do on Sunday mornings and bring this to you. We're able to bring in guest speakers, our guest musicians. We give money back to our home organization that supplies the materials. And we also have classes and workshops and all that. Plus, we're always looking for organizations that also share the same vision that we have, helping to create a world that works for everyone. So that circulation, it's always, always happening. All right. Odds are, if you're a regular here at CSL Leesburg, you found a way to give. If not, take a quick look at the screen. You can always go to our website, look for that donate button. And now is the time where we express our gratitude and we bless the gifts and remind ourselves who we are and what our purpose is. Are you ready to join me? All right, the blessing of the gifts. Please say this with me. These words are so powerful. The presence of spirit within me blesses everyone I meet, tends to heal everything I touch, brings gladness into the life of everyone I contact. Therefore, I am a blessing to myself, to humankind, and to the day in which I live. And so it is. All right, let's see what we have for announcements.
No announcements.
No announcements. All right.
Classes.
Great. Class is coming up soon. Stay tuned. So I said I had 5 pages of notes. If you're regular here, you know what we do after service. We have our little virtual coffee hour. We call it pearls because what were the little nuggets? What were the jewels that you got from today's message, from the meditation, from the music? What do you have to share with us? Let's talk about anger. How do you deal with anger? What do you do when things start to boil? How do you go into the sacred pause? We also ask questions. If you want to hear a quote that Charlene had, you want to hear it again, or what was that book title that you mentioned by Brene Brown? This is what we do. We also check in with each other. If you're new, we ask you to introduce yourself. If you're reading a good book, if you've watched a great movie, if you've seen a great concert, this is what we ask you to do. Stay, hang out with us if you can. If you can't, then we're going to send you off with our blessings after we do our closing affirmation. So here we go. I want you to unmute. You know I love to hear you. Let's create a glorious sound. Are you ready? Repeat after me. I am love.
I
am love.
love.
Yes.
love.
I love it. It trickles in like a waterfall. That's wonderful. All right. Now think of somebody that needs this message. It could be somebody in the room with you, a friend, a family member, a furry companion, or since we're all connected, like Reverend Charlene was talking about, we know that we can send this message out to whomever needs to hear this. It can travel across miles. So think of someone, or look at someone, or look at somebody and hold them in your thoughts as you say this. Repeat after me. You are love.
You are
love.
Love it. Love it. You know what's neat too? I can hear individual voices coming through and I know who you are. All right. Now for our closing affirmation, let's remind ourselves it's all love. You ready?
It's all love.
All love. It's all love. Thank you so much for joining us today. We need you just as much as you need us. I often feel like when I tune into CSL Leesburg each week, this is when my battery gets recharged. It might get a little low during the week. And then I'm here, and all of a sudden, just like the phone or just like anything that you charge up, it just grows because of the message and because you're here. So thank you for joining us. If you can, please stay. If not, we send you off with our love and our blessings, and we know we'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us.